Good morning everybody, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. This morning I'm going to take you through a walk and talk session. I'm located down here at the northern end of George Street at the Rocks, and we're going to just do a walk and talk style of vlog and chat to you about a topic that I've got near and dear to my heart. So let's just go on a bit of a journey and we'll just chat. Today I'm going to take you through a book summary. A book summary entitled A Beautiful Constraint by two authors by the names of Morgan and Barden. And what we'll do is we'll walk towards the Harbour Bridge and then try and see the Opera House as it's silhouetted against what appears to be a magnificent sunrise this morning. It's pre-dawn, or it's pre-sunrise, so it'll get progressively lighter as we walk along and chat. But yeah, let's have a chat about this beautiful book on constraints and how important constraints are to our creativity. So I guess the first point that the authors make in this book, and it's quite profound actually, that unless you have constraints imposed on you, either externally or self-imposed, then you're not going to really grow and develop in ways that are remarkable and exceptional. The authors basically suggest and say that the greatest creativity comes when you place limits on people. And the examples that they use, and there are lots of examples, but some of the notable examples and the memorable examples are the example of Mick Jagger. So Mick Jagger's dance, his iconic dance moves came not because he made them up and he had plenty of options, but it's because when he first started dancing or first started performing, he was performing on small stages. So he didn't have much room and he had to adapt to his environment and basically come up with his little jig in a small area. The Google page on the internet, although it's simple and very effective and now iconic, came about because the founder wasn't all that good at coding. How funny is that? And there's lots of those examples. So the authors are basically saying, and this is pretty awesome as well, that you need to impose constraints and limitations on people in order to fire them up, in order to get them to explode in their creativity, because it's only through constraints and restrictions that people ask the right questions. They ask the questions, they seek solutions to get around that problem, that restriction that you've given them. If you sit and think about us humans, for example, you know, we have some massive restrictions placed upon us. You know, we only live for 70 on average. So life itself places a time constraint on us. You've got to do stuff within a certain amount of time. Other examples of constraints are in terms of when you get married and when you have a family. Now you've only got a certain number of years to find your partner, settle down and have children. Once you miss that window of opportunity, then life gets much more difficult. Or when I say difficult, it becomes more challenging to reach a particular goal. So what a beautiful morning it is. Look at the Opera House. Look how beautiful, look how magnificent the Opera House is, silhouetted against that golden sunrise. An absolute morning glory. So the authors in this book continue to chat and talk, and they say that if you're a boss, if you're a leader, if you're a manager, what you need to do is issue constraints on your team, because through constraints you will get high performance, because people love being restricted and love breaking free of those restrictions and finding other ways of doing things. So the authors also talk about the questions that people ask themselves. So you need to be an option thinker. So the phrase that they coined in the book was that you need to be asking the question, if blah 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 and can, as opposed to can't blah 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 because. You need to be asking yourself open-ended questions that will enable you to identify opportunities and to create opportunities to get around the externally imposed or the internally imposed restriction. So the power of questions, the power of asking yourself the right questions are critical in terms of getting around the constraints and limitations. When I was a young bloke, I remember hearing a term used, especially when I was at IBM, and they said that if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, because the busy person is going to find a way to do it, and not sit around procrastinating, trying to work out how to do it. As an example, whenever I go to Greece, I usually go for about 3 weeks, because I know that by going for 3 weeks, I'm going to get more done in those 3 weeks than people who go and stay 3 months, because I know I've got a limited amount of time to do things, and I can't just sit there and say I'll do it tomorrow, and like most things, the tomorrows never turn up, the tomorrows never materialise. So by restricting yourself in terms of how much time you've got, you will just get more things done. You know, you'll just go and see the people you want to see, you'll catch up with the relatives, you'll go to the places, you'll do your visits, and you'll do it one after the other with a high amount of energy and a high amount of expectation. So that's basically it. So what the authors encourage people to do is to not fear constraint. You know, for example, if you injure yourself, you break your back, fair enough. You know, there are 1,000 things you can't do. But if you sat and think, if and can, you'll realise that there are 10,000 things you can do. You just reprioritise and reshape your your future. So thank you very much for once again taking the time to spend with me on this beautiful, awesome morning, and to think about your life, and to welcome, to embrace, to open your arms, to open your mind to constraints, and to be the author of constraints. If you're leading a team, set them a deadline. Place some restrictions on what they can do and how they can do it. Because by setting the deadline and issuing constraints, that is when you're going to fuel their creativity, and you'll be surprised, absolutely surprised, at how quickly they can get things done and how powerful the outcomes can be. Now with COVID-19, a lot of people are skeptical that the world can come up with a vaccine in a short period of time. And I ask the question, why not? Why can't people do it in a short period of time? You don't need to do it, over 10 or 20 years. You can compress the process. When you've got thousands and thousands of the best minds working together across the world, why can't these people work and compress the timeline and get a vaccine out quickly, especially when we know it's an important thing for everybody? So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To all my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, know and understand that we live in a world of constraint. Issue constraints upon yourself, issue constraints upon your team, so that you can enhance your creativity and fire up your energy levels so that you can get things done as effectively and as efficiently as possible. Remember, you don't need 1,000 years to live a lifetime. You can do it minute by minute, as long as you get the most out of every minute. So from Jim's 5 a.m. Club, I look forward to chatting to you again and again and again. Until tomorrow, 5 a.m., have a productive day, stay well, and I welcome you back whenever you're interested in joining me again. Take care, tatapume, sasagapao, and from this beautiful city of Sydney, bye for now.